You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. This is Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. We certainly appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, for 16 years and 2,000 episodes? I was going to say 20,000 episodes because it kind of feels that way. We've had so many amazing people on the show, and it's just like a library we call the Netflix of podcasting. You can go through and binge, like whatever you want to binge. You can politics, entrepreneurism, all the greatest minds, all the greatest romance novels, or we have a lot of great romance novels people on the book. Anything you can find is on the Chris Voss Show, because we do about 3 to 4 shows every weekday. And the information you're going to learn will change your life. And if it doesn't, well, you better go back and listen to them, because otherwise I'm going to come out there and visit you and make sure that you get the point of every podcast. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. I don't have that kind of time. So, guys, we had an amazing entrepreneur on the show. We're going to be talking to him about his insights, how he built a very successful company, and he's going to tell you all the secrets where you can build one too. Boy, that I just put a lot of pressure on him, but no, we're not going to make him do all that. We don't. There's a lot of work that goes into that sort of thing, but he's going to give you some tips and tricks maybe, and some advice on how to do what he does. So we'll be talking to him. In the meantime, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. We're begging, we're pleading. Don't make me get on my knees. Tell them to go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, Chris Voss 1 on the TikTokity, and I think that was all of it. It's on the internet. Just go find it. That's what Google's for. It's on the front page. We have Justin Fortier on the show with us today. He's the founder and CEO and CTO of FYC Labs. He's a tech entrepreneur, advisor, and influencer leader in the San Diego and Sacramento area. He evidently avoids LA. Well, what's with that? He just skips. He skips from one end of the island of California to the other. Is his boutique agency grew internationally, capturing clients such as Remix, cameras are in front of the way here. National University, Budweiser, and Pepsi. Has been recognized on several top lists for web design and development. He's been named as a finalist for CEO of the Year twice by the San Diego Business Journal, and was recognized as one of the top 50 most influential business leaders in San Diego by San Diego Daily Transcript. Boy, next time I'm going to San Diego, I'm calling him to show me around town. In addition, he holds top-level technical business advisory positions at 11.2 Ventures, Blush Design Incorporated, Edvo, Aura Finance, and what is that? Intra-Ratio?
Yeah.
Corporation. There you go. I learn new words. That's why we do the show. He has held technical executive roles for Blockchain Innovators, XYO Network, e-commerce game changer for Days, and manufacturing technology SaaS, Intra-Ratio Corp again. Welcome to the show, Justin. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. We certainly appreciate it. Give us your .coms, wherever you want people to find you on the interwebs.
Yeah, check us out at FYClabs.com. That's the best place to find my day-to-day work. We're doing a really cool project called DealSend.io if you want to go there. Accru.co, ACCRU.co. We're doing a really cool fintech product there. You're going to hear a lot about these businesses when you hear my background and my story, so you'll know which one you need to go to when you hear about them.
There you go. So,
and today I'm in Chicago.
Chicago.
Let's go Cubbies. I'm out here visiting my business partners. Good day out here.
There you go. If we could get those Bears to maybe get a good team together, that'd be good too.
Hey, they got that QB.
I miss the days of when the Bears were great. I'm a Raiders fan, but when the Bears, the Ditka, I think were those the Ditka years?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dub Bears. So give us a 30,000 overview of what you do there at FYC Labs.
So FYC Labs is a boutique dev and design agency building software. We do all sorts of things from mobile development to custom portals for your back of house accounting services. We do pretty much anything when it comes to web development and mobile development. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, thanks for coming by, and we'll you do a lot of stuff for web development and everything else. Give us a deeper cut, if you will. Like, what are some of the different venues or avenues or things that you provide?
So our agency is unique in that we're not just going to staff you up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a bench of developers in a catalog somewhere, and I'm going to pick a name at random and put them on your team. I've been doing this long enough to be an important partner, thought partner, and kind of fractional CTO for whatever project we're working on. We're keeping the agency small enough. We're at 50 people, which isn't tiny by any means, but it's also not a big, just roster that you're going to pick from. So that's what's kind of unique. So you can throw a lot of stuff our way, and you're going to get really experienced, effective people on your team.
There you go. So give us a rundown. How did you grow up? What influenced you? How did you get into technology? And then how did you first start your own company?
Yeah. So I grew up in South Lake Tahoe, California, where everybody was an extreme athlete and I was a nerd who sat in front of a computer. So I had that going for me. I'm sure I had lots of girlfriends in high school.
Revenge of the Nerds, it sounds like.
Right. So yeah, I was more kind of into, I played ice hockey. That was my thing. But I wasn't totally out of sports, but I was good at computers, good at school. So I didn't go become a professional skier like a lot of my friends did. I ended up going out to college the traditional route. So I graduated in 08 with my master's degree. And if anybody knows when they graduated in 08, it was not the best time to be leaving.
Right. Yeah. It was a rough time.
So I bounced around actually just doing restaurant and bar jobs with a master's degree. And we actually, 3-4 friends of mine started a bar in San Diego where 4 of the bartenders had master's degrees, 2 of the bouncers had a master's degree in communication, and we were the most overly qualified
oh my gosh
people in the scene.
Well, you guys made really smart drinks then, I guess.
We did. We kind of pioneered some of the classic craft cocktail scene, and we were doing fractions, man. We were doing fractions.
You were doing fractional martinis, maybe.
Right.
There you go.
I learned a lot from that, though. That was an experience in a small business, and that taught me that I'm the type of person who's going to do my own thing. So actually working with that group, I met this guy, Pablo Stanley, who's this incredible artist. You should definitely go check him out. His project Blush is incredible. Musho's incredible. Bueno's incredible. Pablo in general is just one of the most interesting, talented people you'll ever meet. And the guy comes in asking me for a busboy job.
Wow.
Like, dude, are you kidding? No, the world the world needs you to have this other thing. So I was like, let's go start a business together. That's how I started my business. I knew it, and this is a theme that I talk about a lot. Any podcast I go on, any groups I talk to, and it's like your entrepreneurial flame has to be lit high and tight, and like you got to be ready to go, and you got to feel like you can't do anything else. You literally can't. And I just knew at that point this was going to happen. I cannot see myself working anywhere else. I can't see myself not having a piece at the top. So when Pablo and I kicked this thing off, I knew I needed to work with the best talent. Him and I did some really cool stuff early on. And that's how we started our business, man. It was all bootstrapped. We got a crappy office in downtown San Diego. The place sucked. Man, let me quickly tell you about that office.
Yeah.
There was a roller derby. Women's roller derby we shared a wall with that. So all the time we'd be trying to be on calls, act professional, like we know we're doing, and there's
crash.
And dude, you ever smell the roller derby team?
Oh no, I didn't ever think about that, but it's sweat and dried blood, I imagine.
And absolutely no air conditioning, no ventilation. So yeah, that was. We come from a modest start.
Yeah, I remember our first office. It was 10 by 10. It was in an old Class C, what probably should have qualified as a Class D building. And it was about as big as most people's bedroom in their home when we did it. I think we got it for $100, but we did the same thing. We did the startup thing, and this was FYC Labs, right? This was
FYC Labs, yeah.
There
so
you
go. We started out just doing menus and graphics for events, and then we kind of graduated up.
There you go. And so you build the company. How did that go? Or what were some of the?
So we didn't build the company very well. to start.
Okay. Well,
we built up some momentum, right? And then both of us bailed.
Oh.
We both found other opportunities and started other businesses. So Pablo went off to Silicon Valley, and he worked for Udemy, and he was co-founder at Carbon Health, and he's done incredible things up there. I went out and started working with Insuratio and kind of a buddy of mine I played hockey with said, come on over, let's do this thing together. And, we worked and built that company up. Meanwhile, the business FYC Labs is just kind of chilling, doing its thing. It's status quo. I've got some employees over there. They run the day-to-day. It's kind of just meh, right?
It's so it's still running. It's just you're not your guys' main focus.
Right. So it's kicking off a little bit of money here and there, but it's not my main focus for about 5-6 years.
Wow.
I went out and did other stuff. So same with Pablo. I did some cool blockchain. Well, so the tough part here is my wife was running it. So watch how phrasing
I don't mean to throw you under the bus there.
My wife was running the project management on the day-to-day for a lot of that time. So but in the meantime, went out and did some cool stuff in blockchain, got pulled over to the XYO, which was a really fun project, got really deep into tech at that point. That's when I kind of blossomed more as a CTO and engineer, was getting to really dive into the tech with them. I had an amazing mentor over there, Ari Trout, great CTO over at XYO, brilliant guy, some awesome mentor.
There you go. And so at what point do you come back? Or
so I get brought back. So that's why I'm in Chicago right now. As a business partner, this gentleman out of Chicago hits me up, random connection through a friend. Says, I'm buying up small dev shops. I'm like, well, guess what I have? A small dev shop. So we meet. I come out to Chicago, meet him. Great guy. Really enjoy talking to him. He says, hey, you know what? Go back to your agency for a year for me. I'll buy this thing out for you. If you hit all your marks, I'll double my offer, and I'll take the agency from you. I go, great, that sounds awesome. So I come back. I'm doing the thing. We tripled we blew past all the metrics that we were supposed to hit. This is also 2020, 2021, by the way. So it's a little easier than it was the other time. So I was unlucky in 2008, lucky in 2021 time when there's a lot of VC funding going on, a lot of easy projects to pick up, like startups looking for software development. We kill it. And then I look at him and I go, well, now that I've built this, I kind of don't want to leave. You want to be partners? Hilarious. So he bought out my other partners. Pablo still has a little bit of founding equity, but basically him and I run the business now day to day. Love working with the guy. We've now started several in-house products. We've basically built ourselves a little venture studio. We won a really sweet championship belt for our coding. I decided to put that on the show for you today.
There you go. Look at that.
So yeah, we've done a lot of really cool stuff together since. That's how I came back, and the company's grown, from 4 people to 50 people in just a few years.
Nice. And so you built it back up. You find that it's you kind of abandoned it there, but
to be frank, that it's hard to grow a services business. So now we can help out your viewers here and kind of teach them a little about what are the things I've learned along the way.
There you go.
Scaling.
Let's talk about that.
Let's give some people something to chew on, right? I love services businesses. They're great. They kick off cash. They help jumpstart other businesses. Mm-hmm. They give you a sense of purpose. They teach you a lot about systems, but they are extremely difficult to scale. Mm-hmm. It is really hard to go out and scale up a services business, and really, you're gonna be exhausted. Your employees are gonna be exhausted.
Yeah. Why is it hard to scale it?
What's you just have to. On that? You're literally just reselling time for the most part in a service business, and that's a pretty tough resource to gather, right? And, just turned 40 times. Time is the most fleeting asset I have, right? So
that's true, and you kind of are the company, and your employees are the company. When you're selling a product, they're easily replaceable. I suppose you can just put AI in and fire everybody these days. That's what they're doing. But with service business, you've got to keep good talent.
Got to keep good talent, and you have human variability, right? People get sick. People have losses in their life. People move on. So it's not as easy to scale that sort of variability. Now, the people who have done it, I'm super proud of them. It's great. There's cash flow kicking off these things immediately. You don't have as much of a ramp up time. So that's why I liked it early on. It was a good foray into entrepreneurship because I could live off of it, right? I didn't have to I didn't have to wait 2 years and go raise a bunch of money just to survive and see when my revenue was coming in. I immediately knew how to control P&L and figure out how to bootstrap things. So it's incredible lessons, but it doesn't scale. So that's why I went to XYO. So I went with intra-ratios. I wanted to build up a scalable business that we could see those sort of SaaS margins on.
Did you kind of feel like maybe it would help, as an entrepreneur, you're constantly learning, you're constantly growing, you're constantly kind of, I wouldn't call it thickening your resume, but there's challenges that you get from owning different companies. Like when I started my first multi-million-dollar company, within a year and a half, I was starting a second one on top of it. Because I was insane with ADHD and OCD. That was probably part of it. And plus I got bored. And then I think...
and you got to boost the confidence too, right? You think, I can do this. I can take on anything. I'm the man,
you can
right?
take on anything. Yeah. And so, and then I think within a year or two, we started something else. We ended up having about 3 core companies that were our main. And then I was always starting stuff. I mean, I don't know, I just get bored. And I'm like, let's see if we can make this thing fly. And it was kind of like the adventure of learning new stuff and trying new stuff. And sometimes you learn stuff that you can take back to what your main core companies are and make them go. And so it's kind of a thing where if you pick up some knowledge base, you might be able to use it in your toolbox.
So check this out. Here's how we approach that. And this is where the guys who I worked for that bar, I told you, it was an amazing group of small business owners. They created something called Consortium Holdings down in San Diego. It's a loose group of LLCs, all different businesses, of bars and restaurants and hospitality down in San Diego. And they didn't create an umbrella company, which all had like this kind of dictated downward systems, but they had this community of businesses all dedicated to sharing resources, joint PR requests, getting bulk orders on certain things, so basically what happened was they were able to create economies of scale, relatively, right? And allow for employee transfer from one place to another really seamlessly and create this restaurant group without having to create a restaurant group. They didn't have to create this big umbrella thing, but they did have a consortium of smaller LLCs that they could find other small investors in. And I thought, man, what if you did that for services and tech companies? So what we've done, my partner and I have different angel investments that we've done, different startups that we've created ourselves, and different services businesses that we own. And we've created a consortium that allows us to, like you said, if you're getting bored, you can always pop over to one or the other, but you're always contributing toward a rising tide, right? So all these boats are rising up with this tide because you're contributing better systems from one that you've learned over here. You bring that system over to there, you bring the systems over, and then what you do is you can also get employees who are bored. Hey, they're getting tired of working agency work. They're getting tired of demands, deadlines. Let's move them over to this product company for a few months. Let them chill out. Let them explore, experiment, and do some cool things. And pop them back over the agency because we need a cash flow. It's been incredible. It's a really cool model. We call it Fractal Group.
The Fractal Group. Wow.
Yeah.
So like a lot of fractional CTOs and things that we see, we've interviewed a lot of fractional CTOs on the show. And it's kind of an interesting thing. When I first heard of it, I'm like, what, you're like a part-time CTO? Like, what is that?
I love it because there's a diminishing return on a CTO when I've been that guy. At a certain point, I'm just another engineer. So that first 6 hours of my day may be super valuable. The last 2, you might as well just hire a kid out of college.
Yeah, and maybe that's the future. We just work things that way, where the transition. It's interesting how you guys do that. So it sounds like there's a group of people that are like yourself who like that mobility, being able to move around to different projects, play with different things, expand your mindset on different things.
Yeah, and you're creating some diversification to when there's downtimes in one industry, come back and the other one helps out. So we've given cross-company loans. We've given cross-corporate guarantees to help one smaller business get a line of credit when the other one, wasn't quite big enough yet. So FYC would create a cross-corporate guarantee for one of our other fractal groups, one of our fractal businesses. And that helped jumpstart that business because otherwise without that, they would have gone back to the sharks and the VCs and the angels, which love you guys, but no, I don't want to feed my little babies to you yet.
Yeah. So do you see this maybe as a potential future model for business and other, a model that other people could adopt in that?
I think it's been going on for years and just sort of these like loosely grouped together consortiums and syndicates and just friends. Creating community among businesses has been going on for a long time. So formalizing the model, yes, probably I could probably go kind of work with some other folks, but a lot of entrepreneurs are sort of, great phrase that I heard: want to go fast, go alone. Want to go far, go together, right? So that's what we're sort of approaching, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs kind of have that one track mindset. I got to do my thing and I got to grow. But I think there's a bunch of us out here who really, they would rather build medium-sized businesses with their friends than one big business alone.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting. After my partner left, I didn't have a board or a partner anymore, and it was just me running our companies after 13 years. And it was kind of left a vacuum because I at least had a sounding board. I was always the visionary. And so I created what I called my virtual board of directors. And I called up a bunch of entrepreneurs that I knew and friends of mine. And I said, hey, I need somebody I can bounce off ideas. If I'm thinking about innovating something or trying something new or working on some new, widget, I need somebody I can talk to and bounce off ideas. And, business lawyers are expensive. And this is back in brick and mortar days. So you didn't really have the internet. And it was just barely beginning. You had CompuServe, I think. Can I put up a bulletin board for business advice? There probably was one. But so there wasn't a lot of those resources that people have now. I would have killed to have all the stuff people have now. But
well, you know what? I still have the analog version of that. I go grab beers with a couple of guys who I know are small business owners. That analog version is awesome too. Like there's something special to that.
And so we would all give each other advice, and we created our own little board of directors. I called them up and I said, hey, if I can call you maybe and bug you sometime about some ideas I have, you got an open line to bug me. And it worked really well, kind of like the beer thing.
Yeah.
And but I like how you guys have taken it next level, where you have funding and you're kind of all working on each other's projects and stuff.
Yeah, I found I see a lot of my friends who start small businesses, and they kind of hit these ceilings so quickly.
Yeah.
And if they just had a group of friends who would take a little bit of risk with them, or kind of give them a little leg up, they would make it past that next hurdle. A lot of them just don't make it past the next hurdle because they're trying to do it alone. And it's like, oh, come here, let me just help you out. We'll give you this extra little system. We'll give you a $10,000 loan to get past this, so you don't have to go raise money. Like we can make this work together.
Yeah.
And if there are more businesses kind of helping each other like that, I mean, don't get me wrong, business is cutthroat, is competitive, but I'll take all the friends I can get against that.
Hey, rising tide lifts all boats, man. I mean, that's kind of how you have to look at it. But I love this concept as a business model because, maybe there's a future to it where everybody could do it or become more scaled and get his own business license or something. But I love the concept because, you're right. You're stuck because there's some tool that you need, or there's some combination of safe you haven't figured out yet. And if you just get that one tool, it turns the lights on to a whole different area. And you can hire expensive business attorneys, you can hire expensive business consultants, but not everyone can afford what Kenzie and company come in and fix your shit. And so having people that are kind of at more around your level and understand your thing and probably aren't going to charge you, well, do you have $5 trillion for?
Yeah. It's been cool. So that's kind of the story. And there's a lot of cool little things that I've learned along the way.
There you go.
Again, the downside of this model is I work my ass off. I'm working all the time. We've got context switching. It's got to be something you got to get real good at real fast. Like I just got off a call talking about EDC Las Vegas, which it's an electronic daisy carnival. 400,000 person electronic. I do not know how to dance, and I don't know how to do DJ.
Well, you do enough Molly, and you'll learn to dance. That's how it works at EDC. I lived in Vegas for 20 years. I know how EDC works.
There you go. Yeah. So we're gonna go out there. We won a media contract out there, so we're gonna be shooting and doing the live stream for that whole show. Amazing.
That should be awesome.
Project that we won. Yeah.
That
super
is
cool.
Huge show. That thing takes over the town when it comes to show.
And
And
yeah, like I said, just turned 40, so it's gonna be a trip. My wife and I are 40-year-olds hanging out at EDC, trying to pretend we still got it.
man, the Vegas locals that I know, they dress up, and like all the hot chicks go to it. Man, they dress up in some funky outfits or to the nines, and it's kind of like Halloween almost sometimes. But
Oh, let's go.
it's a crazy party. I think the only time they've canceled is with storms. I think one year they had to cancel because a storm came in. It was like crazy winds or something.
I can't imagine the amount of money lost if something like that happened.
And I imagine now they have snipers for everything. I just noticed something the other day. I lived in Vegas when that guy was sniping everybody and out to Mandalay Bay, and I had friends that were there, and so I was watching on TikTok, I think a couple days ago, and there was some event they were having, a festival, a concert festival somewhere, I think somewhere in the Midwest or something, and they showed on the TikTok video how they had snipers on all the buildings around them. So they're not going to let that thing happen again. So it's kind of cool that there's that kind of level of security.
What a wild concept, right? Like that we're all living in this world of.
It's sad we've come here, but at least you kind of know that we're not going to let shit like that happen again.
And don't let us slow us down either. We're going back out. Yeah,
we're having the terrorist cannot win.
Exactly.
So there you go. So what more do we need to tease people out on what you do? Is there people you want to work with out in our audience? Because we put this on LinkedIn and stuff. Services that you can provide to them, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, there's something coming up right away. It's this event here. We're at Code Launch, and this one was from Dallas. We're at something called Code Launch in Minneapolis. So you'll see us hanging out there. Hopefully we'll win, but that's a really cool project where we're going to be collaborating with a startup. We're giving them, I believe it was $10,000 worth of free services to get their product off the ground. And we're working with a really great company called Welcome Home. So that's a cool plug. If you want to keep an eye on what we're doing, obviously our LinkedIn is the best place to keep up with us, being a business, right? Our LinkedIn and our Instagram. I'd love for people to learn more about Fractal Group. It's fractalgroup.io. And then accrue.co. We didn't get much into that, but that's a collections and accounts receivable business that we've started out. DealSend handles smart deal flow for investors and founders. And then that company I was just talking about heading out to Las Vegas, they're called FYM Agency. And they're doing really cool media work. So there's too much to pack into one single URL. So hopefully people will kind of catch up to what makes sense to them, or just reach out to me directly and I'll point you to where to go. We're doing cool things.
There you go. So do companies have to be at a certain size or revenue area? What kind of companies work good with you that if they're out there listening can
So we did a good job of kind of keeping our small businesses, a portion of our business dedicated to our small businesses and WordPress sites and websites. So, I mean, pretty small businesses, okay, come to us. We still have a WordPress and web design piece of our business, and those are okay. We're obviously looking for big projects, interesting problems to solve, a lot of fun stuff with AI and putting wrappers around GPT. I know that's the cool thing to do these days. So we're doing a lot of cool projects there. If you are a cool startup who wants to potentially look for some investment, we are angels. We have good ideas there are good ways we can help you. We can bring you into this community, and we can put you on our platform to help you raise money. So we're across the board. Now, probably too big would be, I don't know. Let's call it. Nope, there's too big. We'll take them all.
All right. Well, you're not greedy, So, what was the other question I have for you? What do you see the future in everything you're doing of AI? Where are you at with what AI is going on, and maybe how it might change the landscape of what you guys are doing?
So I think when we talk AI, we're mostly talking about the impact of the LLMs in the last and the generative AI that's kind of exploded in the last couple of years. And that's really AI has been around for a long time. We've been doing cool stuff with machine learning for a while, and that's not going anywhere. And the predictive stuff is not going anywhere. For us as developers, I'm not afraid of AI taking our jobs anytime soon. There's so much legacy stuff out there. There's so much going on.
That's a good point. I never thought of that. There's still people working on Windows 10 or something, or
So much.
Windows 7 or something I think is really popular, isn't it?
A boutique agency our size is going to be agile enough to be able to
Yeah.
pivot between any one of these things, and we do a lot of DevOps and
Hmm.
infrastructure type work. So that's not going anywhere. So for us, we're okay.
Yeah.
As for us as humans, I think we should be cautious as to where we're headed with this. It
Yeah.
has a lot of power, and it has a lot of ability to spread misinformation that we should all be really aware of. Deep fakes are not a joke. That is going to be a
Yeah.
difficult thing, especially if we hit this election.
Yeah, it's going to be really weird. There's people, there's a lot of, we're all having fun making, interesting art with stuff, but it's amazing how many people think the deep fakes or just even like AI generated art is real. And you or I can tell, but and sometimes it's not even good art. Like it doesn't look fucking real. And
Yeah.
people will buy it. They'll see, they'll still see the five fingers and the weird eyes, and they'll be like, "This is the greatest photo ever," and you're like, "That's not a photo, dude. That's."
I have a 9-year-old and I have a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old. I'm just wondering what have you ever heard of the term uncanny valley?
Uh huh.
Yeah, so I'm wondering what their uncanny valley is going to be, because to me, this AI stuff is dead center uncanny valley. I can't.
Yeah.
It weirds me out. But these kids, I mean, my kids are going to grow up with this stuff all around them, and they're going to be used to seeing this sort of wonky version of life and version of art that's going to be the norm to them. So and then how soon until everything's just super real. So
Yeah.
it's going to be an interesting. I think the more interesting thing is watching my kids grow up with this, because I'll probably be curmudgeon and old by the time it all hits you.
I'm that way now at 56. I just sit on the lawn and spray the kids and
Yeah, exactly. So at that point, I'll shut it down. But I'm interested to see how my daughters navigate this.
Clint Eastwood thing. Yeah, I mean, God, you think about everything. Get off my lawn. You think about the. Do you feel like a punk? Do you feel? It's not even Clint Eastwood. Give me a break.
I know where we're going with that.
Do you feel like it just feels so weird, especially for me? I guess you're 16 years younger than me. I grew up in the age where we had phone booths, right? You didn't walk around with phones. I can remember when everybody started getting answering machines. Like that was like the thing. And we're like, hey, you can get answering machines, and like when people call you, they can leave a message. Like innovation. But we lived in an era where there was 3 TV stations. Walter Cronkite, you could trust pretty much what he was telling you. And, now we live in this media age that's, everyone's got an opinion and thinks it matters. Bunch of idiots running podcasts. And, and it's just crazy, the world that you live in. I mean, I think I remember there's a video out there of where they handed a couple young kids a rotary phone, and they said, figure out how to make a call. And they were trying to figure out how to make a call or even how to take pictures with it. And then I remember there's another video where they handed a kid a record, and they're like, we used to listen to music on this, and the kid's just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, the uncanny valley. Somebody turned me on to that term back in one of our episodes. But these kids are going to grow up in a world that's, I don't know, it's just so far removed from what seemed like a more simpler time. But I guess they're going to look at our childhood or past and go, whatever. This is
yeah, right. What are these weirdos doing back then? Like, what were these devices?
Yeah, well, they're going to hit 20 or 30 and be like, when I was growing up, we had AI and
we only had LLM, GPT-4.
yeah. God damn, I remember that. Now we're on GPT-20, and we just think about what we want to generate, and it doesn't.
I might just be an overly optimistic guy, but I've seen this actually. A lot of people complain about the generation Gen Z being a little bit lazy or maybe whatever. I think every time a generation hits that age, the previous generation calls them lazy. That's just going to be the case.
Yeah,
but I've come to enjoy talking to a lot of these folks. Their emotional intelligence is actually pretty solid. Yeah. Watching some of the school curriculum, as weird as it has been, I'm impressed, at least with my children's school curriculum and some of the healthy thoughts that they're teaching our children.
Yeah,
pretty cool actually. And I think there's a lot weird about it and uncomfortable as you get older, but I think in general we're swinging toward the positive progress, as much as the media wants you to think it's not at times. I think in general, humankind is gonna. It's hard to say in the middle of two wars, but I think
That's
in
true.
general, the pendulum will swing toward progress eventually, right? It'll go
Yeah.
back and forth, but the overall momentum, the overall climate of humans is going to be a better humanity.
Well, we'll drag ourselves there one way or another, I guess. Is how we move forward as a humanity. But what's interesting to me is I had somebody on who basically took Darwin's theory of evolution, and I forget the book that Darwin did that in. Maybe it was called Darwin's Theory of Evolution. But basically, he overlaid it with AI and claimed that AI will become its own species. It was the species book that he overlaid it with.
Origin
And
of Species is the name of.
the origin of species. There
Yeah.
you go. And he basically pitches that AI will become its own species, and at that point, it will look at us and decide. I don't know. And its parameters and modus of operandi is going to be different than humans because humans we're mostly just breeding stock for the universe. Like our whole thing that we do all day long is figuring out how to propagate the species and survive. And so if you're not thinking about mating, you're thinking about raising your family and your kids. And once you're done doing all that, the universe kind of goes, well, we're done with you. We need the new stock of people that will breed and do stuff. And that's kind of how we operate, and and that's kind of the limits of our operation because we focus on that. But he was like, the AI isn't going to work at worrying about, I don't know, how to pick up chicks and get laid. It's going to be thinking about things that we probably have never even considered. So
And it's
kind of
going
interesting
to
thought
navigate through media we don't understand.
Oh
The
yeah,
fact that it doesn't think about reality the way that we would, and it doesn't. There's so many interesting things about thinking about a biological type being, because you
yeah,
define a species as being, you can think biological type being living and navigating itself through wires and through radio waves.
yeah,
That's how it exists. It
yeah,
exists there. It doesn't exist in the physical form of.
yeah,
It manifests in physical forms through maybe mechanical
yeah.
robots or whatever it may be. But
Yeah, when
it's
it
an
makes the
interesting,
Terminator,
yeah, yeah. When it creates the
goes full
T-1000.
Skynet and makes the Terminator. But the thing that a lot of people have talked about with AI is the creativity. It's going to amp up our creativity levels, and I got to tell you, it using the generative AI, and especially when I'm working on images or pictures that I want to have made. Whether it's with a blog or I had some meetup groups that I want to do some artwork for, and normally you'd have to hire all that out, and then you'd be like, "Ah, I don't like how that looks. I wish I could do it different. And that just costs more." I was able to go in and make my own media, and just playing around with it, and like sometimes when I have a Facebook post where I want to talk about a topic, I can go make a picture that kind of encompasses what I'm thinking about, or maybe it's a bit of comedy. But the creativity, it's taken my creativity level to new heights, and kind of my what do you want to say it? My possibility frame has grown larger because you tweak with it, and you're like, hey, okay, we'll tweak it this way. Okay, do a little bit more of that, and it's just amazing. I mean, it really gets your creative juices running.
Yeah, and technology at its core
Yeah,
should create enablement, right? So it
yeah,
enabled you as someone who basically didn't have the design skill, the
mm-hmm,
motor skill or whatever it may be to go do the design thing.
yeah,
Um, but it unlocked that particular blocker for you, similar
yeah,
to what we talked about earlier with our fractal group, and be able to unlock that blocker for
yeah.
that next call. We called
There
it
you go.
callback, by the way. So we unlocked that opportunity for the other group to increase your creativity and unlock that brain to go direct to. So it's really cool that it enables that part of our brains. And I think you kind of, as you're talking, it made me think maybe there's a competitive landscape here. Maybe we do have a survival of the fittest situation going on with AI, and maybe humans will
Yeah.
suddenly become that much more enabled, or we'll get lazy with it. It's going to be an interesting
Yeah.
coexistence.
Some people say that's why AI will keep us around. It's because of the creative part. Because we'll be able to create better than it will. Because
Yeah.
we have a weird imagination as human beings. But I
There's
don't
so
know.
many fun sci-fi thoughts you can have with this thing, but it never. It's so funny how inevitably we personify it so quickly
Yeah.
and think of it as a potential evil or bad. It just kind of
Yeah.
is a thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of how we work. Plus, we saw too many Terminator movies. Like anytime you see that Boston Robotics dog or whatever running around, the music from Terminator starts playing. Man, dun, 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 dun. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shit, we're all gonna die. So this has been fun to have you on the show. Give us your final thoughts and your .com as we go out, Justin.
Yeah, again, FYClabs.com, best place to find me, talk to me. Go to LinkedIn, look me up on LinkedIn. I do pretty active on there. Appreciate the show. You do a
Yeah,
great job.
thank you.
I love the broad spectrum of topics you hit along here, and it's just been fun talking to you. So people keep checking out the Chris Voss show.
There you go. Thanks for the plug. I certainly appreciate it, Justin. We're the Netflix of podcasting. You can binge on anything. What's funny is people consume 96% of the shows. So they're literally just press and play and listen to everything. So it's probably insane if they're listening to romance novels and then moving to this and then moving to. But I learned so much from every show and everything, different ways of looking and paradigms and stuff. So
Great background, sound to be going on, and when you're maybe
yeah.
doing some work out in the yard or something.
Yeah, that's usually what they do. Usually they do it when they're in the bedroom doing the whoopee thing with their a significant other. I hear that's popular. No,
No
it's
better
not.
aphrodisiac than the Chris Voss show,
No
guys. You
one
heard
has
it.
ever told me that. And if you're doing that, knock it off. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't want to think about that. Anyway, thanks for being on the show, Justin. Thanks for tuning in to my audience. Be sure to be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.